Right, welcome back. Couldn't really be any more excited than I am with this one. But before we introduce who we've got with us today, I've done a walk around my studio here a few months ago and was going through some of these fantastic young players. And we got to this one at one point, and I was explaining that he was this fantastic scorer, as good a talent as I've seen, and certainly round the balls. And I was rather hoping that he was going to find the belief in himself, because almost everyone lacks enough belief sometimes. But really hoping that he would recognise how good he is, so he could start achieving what I think a lot of people, anyone who knows anything about snooker, knew what he was capable of doing, and it's Connor Benzey. And so with that, if you'd like to come around here, Paul, because I'll go round Connor's considerably tall frame, and I'll try and have to go on my tiptoes here so we don't look like a midget. I've got Connor Benzey with me. I call him the Hoover for obvious reasons. And what's fantastic about today is it's Wednesday, and only Sunday he only went and won the Q Tour, the Q School event, and he won Q School and he got through on Q School. So I'm not happy about it at all. I was quite bored watching, and I was absolutely delighted for you.
Thank you.
But well done first off. For me, there used to be 16 players who went through in Q School. That was only a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so you'd have 3 events, 4 players would go through from each event, and the top 4 on the order of the merit would go through as well. It was 16, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And so there's 2 events now, and 4 players go through in each one. So there's 8 players in the whole Q School, and Connor's got through. It's absolutely fantastic. As I say, it won't be any surprise to people who know him where his ability is concerned. But can I just say, you must, like everyone, you must have been doubting at some point whether, am I going to be one of them players who actually gets over the line?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was so many times when you're driving home and you're just sat at home and you're thinking, am I wasting my time? Am I really good enough? So I'm just so pleased to finally get over the line and get through,
Yeah,
very
few get that feeling, don't you? They get that confirmation of all the effort that your mum and dad, hi Mark, hi Sam, absolutely fantastic job you've done with your boy. How many does it actually happen for? And no matter how talented they are, and as talented as you are, it could have very easily have not happened, couldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, deep down I always knew and thought I was good enough, but when it got to those crunch moments, I always doubted myself and always found a way of getting in my own way, sort of thing. So I'm just proud of myself that I kind of got through that and believe myself when I really need to.
Yeah, and so am I. I couldn't watch the final, but obviously we were watching the scores.
Yeah.
I think we were saying before that sometimes a lot worse when you're watching the scores, because you really don't know what's going on. But I'd like you to, it's great having the opportunity to do this with you today. I don't know if I've felt any better before about a result for someone as you getting through that. And I know what it is with me, with that being in the game so long, is deep down I knew what I had in front of me. And I don't want to embarrass you, but incredible talent, a rare talent for making all them balls disappear and everything, and that's the modern game for me. You need that if you're going to be a top player, and you've showed all them signs since you were a young boy. Connor's going to hit some balls here, and again, it's not going to matter whether he clears them or not. I'm going to be talking to him. But just before we do, How old were you? How old were you when you started playing now? Because I've worked with you for about 5 years now. Your dad called me in not long after COVID started, and I was always aware of you, obviously. But obviously you were playing a lot of snooker before I got to know you.
Yeah, I think I was about 9 or 10 when I first picked up a cue. I started getting coaching when I was about 11, I want to say 11.
Right. Was that Tim Dunkley?
Yeah. Snooker Club. Yeah.
Yeah. Tim runs. Hi Tim. Tim runs a fantastic program down south. Connor's from Southampton, and it's, the amount of players he gets involved in the game is fantastic, and so you know that no doubt encouraged you early on because you had competition and things. I know you had to travel for it because there wasn't many players around your way, was there?
Exactly, yeah.
And things, but these people do fantastic work, don't they? To get the numbers up and giving them the right sort of advice and everything and encouragement and all things like that.
Yeah.
Marvelous what goes on down there. And because I think it went through a period where there wasn't many players, maybe 20 years back, coming from down south, and that's just wrong, isn't it? You know, it shouldn't.
There always seems to be quite a lot of good juniors coming through that club specifically. And there seems to, even now, there's 10, 15 really good juniors coming through, so quite a good little base for grassroots snooker.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's as good as anywhere, really. It really is.
Yeah.
So just before we move on with this, it's and we'll speak about it a little bit more while you're playing. But how are you feeling right now?
I'm buzzing, mate. Been playing this game for 12 years. Never had doubts of getting on the tour, so I'm just so relieved to get through and finally the dreams coming true, you know.
It's fantastic. Well, your dad's been on the phone. His dad talks more than me, by the way. Like, really does. I'm not just saying that. And he was reminding me that as much as, you know, playing for England is great, and if you're playing for your country, your goal all the time was what you've just done.
Yeah.
All the time, and it was very one-tracked, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And things where it's great to have the 3 lines on your chest and things like that. But I get that. I'm a little bit like that with a coach. As a coach, you know, I do my own thing, and I've got my own sort of path, if you like. And I think that's brilliant, Connor. You just had that in your head all the time. I'm in an individual sport, and that's where I want to get.
Yeah.
And you've done it.
Fully, you've got to be driven if you want to achieve anything these days.
Yeah, but not everyone does it like that. It's great to be so single-minded, and it's paid off, hasn't it? Because you know, again, along with all your talent and everything, you need that as well.
Yeah.
So just play. As we were saying, he's just made his way on the hardest way to get through these days. Certainly for me, and I know most people I speak to, is in Cue School. And he's done that, and then all of a sudden, so you've got a young player going from never being on the tour before, so it's a first for them, to all of a sudden, lovely that. All of a sudden you've got like how many weeks before you start your pro career?
2 weeks.
Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, ideally I want a bit more break to have a bit more celebrations, but straight back onto it now.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we're here today. This is the thing that people don't see. You know, he's 3 days ago, you know, he was ploughing his way, he finished ploughing his way through the field in Cue School. And then within here, trying to push things on further, but also keeping in mind that he's playing in, I thought it was 3 weeks, it's less. So, I think we were saying before, weren't we? It would, in some ways, it's nicer that you've got a little bit more of a break. But in other ways, maybe you're not thinking about it too much. It's so you haven't got too much time to ruminate with anything, and you can just, because you're very instinctive anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it also keeps me a bit sharp, doesn't it? So I just obviously got through Cue School, so I'm playing well, and it's nice to just go straight back into another tournament. And not, like I say, not too much time to think about what I've just done, etc.
That's it. And you're going to get some time throughout the season where you can have your little mini breaks and things,
exactly,
aren't you? So, first tournament come.
The Wuhan Open qualifiers, and then you've got a couple of days after the British Open qualifiers. So yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully you can win in both events, get qualified, and just get settled in, feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's it. And I think with that, I think this goes for anything. And I know I learned that just throughout your life, if you like, where with anything was, once you feel at home somewhere, I think that's when you start seeing the person when they're at home. And it's a very similar thing with this, isn't it, Con? So the minute you feel, hopefully straight away you feel reasonably comfortably at home.
Yeah.
I think that's when you're more likely to get a decent start.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be great if you get a good start. I'd settle for a pretty respectable start with it, where you can say, okay, that'll do for now, but I can do better.
Yeah, I mean, I've had experiences on the tour before, and I feel like the whole atmosphere can feel a bit intimidating sometimes with all the top players coming in and out, perhaps the next year. So obviously, just to try and feel comfortable in that sort of environment as soon as you can, is quite important. Yeah,
definitely. Paul, you can move around a little bit, but get a bit artistic, come on. Oh, here she goes, Connor. I think she stepped forward there. Just move around the room a little bit so people can just see us cueing a little bit more, please. Thank you. Yeah, so, even though I'm in his ear, as you can see, the big thing for me with Connor is his scoring ability. And I hope I'm not going to put the mockers on you here, but not that it matter. But I've always sort of named him the Hoover, because he's just a devastatingly heavy scorer. When he was a junior, he played in a best of 7 where he had 130 plus and 140 plus in the same best of 7. I think was that match 4-2 if I remember right. You won 4-2 or 4-1.
4-0 I think.
Oh, was it 4-0? So that was in 4 frames. Sorry, I'm underselling you there. That's in 4 frames when he was a junior. So that's just one example of the signs of what were always there. And I mentioned before about when his dad contacted me about 5 years ago, and Connor's right up my street. He's a heavy scorer, he gets on with it, he's a natural player, he relies on his instincts to line balls up, which is fat. We didn't have to do too much work on sort of training him to trust his line and everything. He was already pretty much there with that anyway, which was great. He hadn't interfered with himself or been interfered with on that score with his natural sight in him and things. But actually being able to show that level of touch and scoring ability in tournaments when he was probably, I think it's still fair to say, isn't it, that you still weren't doing yourself justice as you were doing it, whilst you were scoring really heavy, you still weren't doing yourself justice.
No, I mean, yes, I feel like with the scoring I had, it was a lot heavier than a lot of the other juniors when I was younger, and I was still finding ways to lose matches and finding ways to just bow out of tournaments. That's why I think I massively underachieved when I was a bit younger. I thought I could have won a hell of a lot more than I did, so yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah,
but do you know this is another thing, Con? Sorry, you keep hitting balls, but again, speaking to your dad last night, and obviously your mum and dad know you better than anyone, and Connor's stayed in ours, I've stayed in his house, So we were doing anything so we could, we could get to work together more often because he's in the bottom section of the country. But and getting to know his mum and dad was lovely, and getting to know Connor more. His mum and dad know better than anyone, of course, and his dad knows a lot about snooker. He's actually got quite a high snooker IQ, his dad. And he was saying to me that Connor was one of them. I was a bit like this. He was a young 17 and a young 18. I think that's quite cute, by the way. It's not, you get some people who start acting too old way before their time, and it doesn't really ever come off very right. They think they're the big man of the world when they haven't even lived. You were the opposite. I was a bit like that, where you were a young 16, young 17, 18, and I think some of that had to do with what you've just said about the underachieving. But then it's only a matter of time before that person grows into themselves, and it's what you do in the future that counts, isn't it? Because everyone gets too caught up in how good someone is at a certain age and how old they were when they got on the tour. For me, I think you've got on the tour at the perfect time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I was 17, 18, I was a very immature 17, 18-year-old on the snooker table. I wasn't learning from my mistakes, which is quite important at that sort of age, I feel like. But I agree. I think I've gotten to at the right time for me anyway. Yeah,
but it just shows you that's for other players to take into account as well. If you feel like you're hanging on to the coattails of someone the same age as you when you're younger, there might be a point where when you do grow into yourself and you overtake these players. So, there's something to be taken for every player there. The ones who start quickly, they've got to stay on top of things, and the ones who don't, or aren't doing what they're capable of doing, it's where you get to in the end that counts. And I think that's a good point, isn't it? And I think you're a great example of that. Not that you were hiding anywhere, everyone knew how good you were. But as you've just said, you weren't doing what you were capable of doing. With other players who maybe weren't anywhere near as talented, were possibly doing better.
And it's hard to see that sometimes, isn't it?
It is at the time when you're a kid and you're going through and you can't see into the future.
Yeah, but you've got to focus on yourself and don't worry what everyone else is doing. And just do things at your own pace.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you missed, by the way? You haven't, have you? No. It's no surprise. But again, as you can see, this is the sort of thing with Connor. You can be talking to him, and he can just be shelling peas. He's been able to do things like this for a long time. We're going to be carrying on. He's been here about an hour, just getting warmed up, and we've already made a little start on a few little exciting things, haven't we? But I think, babe, sorry, you can move around here now, that way. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. But I think what was I going to say? We've got quite a bit of work to do. We're either going to have 1 or 1.5 days. We're going to see how today goes. But we've had a good start. I can see already what you're doing, and you know what I'm asking of you. We're going to blend a few things in, and I'm very, very excited about what he's going to move on to with this, and how he gets on the tour. Whatever happens, you've done amazing. But what I think we do know is that, I know we said before we can't see into the future, but what I know, if you do anything like what you're capable of, it's good. It could get very good. Yeah. And I think that's all you can do. You stay in the moment, isn't it? And, exactly. Yeah. And you go from there. But we're gonna carry on now, but I'd just like, just before we finish, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you.
Thank you.
Do this is what I do this sort of stuff for, and you'd always feel like, you know, if there was ever a time, you know, you said about giving up sometimes. I don't think I've ever felt like, as a coach, giving up, but I've felt, we all have our low moments with things and everything, because you even seen what some of the players have got to go through sometimes. What the feeling I got from what you've done recently, it's a reminder of why you know we put ourselves through some of the things that we did. I can't explain the feeling, Con. What you done was fantastic. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm so pleased to be able to do this one today, because of what it represents and what this lad's achieved. This fabulously talented lad. And so, Con, thanks for everything.
Thanks for having me on.
For the, oh, bloody hell, I'm delighted.
It's a privilege.
So keep a lookout for Connor. He'll be trying his best, and to see what happens. They've all only got 2 arms and 2 legs, and you're already score heavier than most of them anyway, and you're only just starting. It's fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks, Con.
Cheers, mate.